And good evening, everybody. I'm Lee Nelson.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. We begin with a story out of Bath tonight. A search is underway for a man who fell into the Kennebec River overnight.
Yeah, Bath police say David Dietrich of Wisconsin was in Bath. He was on a work assignment, a subcontractor working at Bath Iron Works. Police say he was out with his co-workers at several bars and restaurants in downtown Bath. And they say the group was walking near the Kennebec Tavern when it appeared he fell off a floating dock there and into the fast-moving water. Police say the Kennebec Tavern was actually closed, and they also say alcohol was likely a factor in this case.
Well, definitely was a beautiful day out there after all. I mean, 64 degrees it says on the screen right now.
Temperature-wise, really, really good. I kept thinking it might rain, but it didn't rain on me. Mr. Carson is here. Did it rain on you, Keith?
No, it was good.
All right.
Mainly just into New Hampshire right now, the rain. But look at some of these temperatures, high temps today, guys. Look at Sanford. We talked about this earlier. They have all the fun. 77 in Sanford, 72 in Freiburg, 77 in Portsmouth officially for highs, and 67 in Portland, even 65 in Bangor. Unfortunately, didn't get up there in Caribou at 50 and 55 in Holton. Currently still holding at 77 in Sanford, so you still have time to get out there and enjoy that, because I don't think we're going to see that for a little while going forward into the forecast. Sea breezed out along the coastline, so temperatures down just a few degrees. Here's the rain, largely in Canada and again into parts of New Hampshire and Vermont. But the next couple of hours tonight should not be that rainy. There might be an isolated sprinkle, but most of it is partly cloudy to mostly cloudy and kind of a late afternoon, early evening. It's going to be nice. It's a little bit humid feeling out there too. Dew points in the mid 50s, upper 50s. You can see those breaks sprinkled throughout the state as far as the cloud cover goes. However, this system brought friends. So there's the cold front that's going to come through. Then there's the storm system here, a bunch of tornado warnings down here. So there's a whole lot going on. And the rain's going to come through tonight and tomorrow. And then this upper level low down here is going to get stuck over us for a while. So enjoy the rest of today. Here we go tonight with rain coming in. Some heavy downpours possible early tomorrow morning. It's interesting because it's certainly not going to be raining through the entire day, but there will be periods of rain, guys. Temperatures in the 50s, 60s, and the weekend overall looks wet. And it gets really interesting next week. We might even have a snowflake in the forecast. So.
As he walks away.
You should walk away quickly. All right, but walk back in about 10 minutes because we need more weather. Thank you, Keith, very much. Now this, commuters, visitors, everybody really, could someday use a water transport service to hop between South Portland and Portland.
That's the idea, the hope of South Portland waterfront landowners. PK Realty Management, LLC, which will be developing and managing this site owned by developer Richard Packard, announced it's working to find out if the ferry service is a viable option, which the site is between Bug Light and those Gulf oil storage tanks. South Portland city officials say the idea of a water transit service connecting the city and Portland has been in talks for a while. Most recently at a regional community meeting, the idea of that kind of service was well received by leaders and residents of those two cities, as well as Cape Elizabeth and Scarborough. The developers are looking at all sorts of possibilities, and they are in the early stages of data gathering.
We can't, claim any fame in coming up with this idea. We're piggybacking off of ideas that were already out there, and we're really looking at the feasibility of what kind of connectivity would make sense, if it would make sense, and then, it would have to be something that would make sense for the whole population as it stands now.
And right now, PK Realty Management is conducting traffic studies of that area to give them more information and a better idea if it's going to be a good fit for that area.
It'd be interesting to see if it happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, if you are planning a trip to Acadia in the near future, listen up. The park has announced the times in 2019 where you can get in for free.
That's right. The National Park Service announcing its entrance fee free days earlier this week. Acadia will offer free admission to everyone August 25th, September 28th, and November 11th. So maybe a good idea to mark your calendars today. A teen in Lewiston is hoping an online fundraiser will raise enough money to show him more of the world around him. Yeah, the cash will buy a Brainport Vision Pro, and through this technology, it is kind of complicated. This 14-year-old Zion Obi will hope to improve his life. He's pretty familiar with it. Rob Nesbitt talked with the teen about what he hopes to be able to see if he gets one.
Okay, tuning in to a typical teen who likes loud music. Very loud.
No apologies from Zion Obi. He's just using the senses he does have to experience the world.
And I also have this hung up.
Sound and touch is how the 14-year-old gets around because he hasn't had his eyesight since birth. There's a device that could change that, and it's called a Brainport Vision Pro.
A pair of camera glasses over your eyes, and then puts this electrode on your tongue, which sends a message of what the glasses are seeing through a tactile visual map through the tongue, because the tongue is one of the most sensitive areas.
Complicated and expensive, around $10,000 to purchase. The family has started a GoFundMe page that's just over halfway towards its goal. His mom, Sarah Stone, has seen on a virtual screen what the world will look like through Zion's eyes if the campaign is successful.
It reminds me of like a pixelated image, like if you're looking at like an 80s computer, you know, of even like playing Mario, and you can see like the little like squares, but you know, so it's kind of like that. It's like,
So this is how I get out to the vehicle, guys.
Zion does do things on his own, using a walking stick and sound recognition, but it's not easy.
Like something's over here, I can tell, because
And it's not something he does often by himself.
like that.
That could all change with a brain port. Gaining a new sense of independence is what Sarah hopes for most for her blind son.
of course, I hope so. I hope that he learns to love it and utilizes it, because it's important for him to have his freedom and his independence and to feel like he's capable of doing all the things that everybody else does and we take for granted.
Like seeing more of the coin collection he's worked hard to collect, but has only held in his hands.
This is a 1 troy ounce silver bar here.
Or watching the news instead of just hearing it. Zion would like to be a news anchor one day after all, using his phone to practice.
Well, I turn voiceover off.
Ask the teen what most excites him about the possibility of seeing the objects and shapes around him, and the answer is simple.
Zachary, wanna play?
Faces. Zion has never seen what his baby brother looks like, or his mom, dad, grandmother.
I love you.
And he wants to change that.
Be able to like see my family's faces. I won't be able to like see their faces, but to sort of be able to see them and my little brother Zachary.
Technology is often the subject of our complaints, but we should remember what it's capable of providing.
And that's how I get to the vehicle.
It can show someone a world they've never seen.
That story by our Rob Nesbitt. Now, as of right now, the GoFundMe page for Zion has reached about $7,400 already.
That's pretty good, and you can find that link to that GoFundMe account at our website and mobile app. Tomorrow marks 20 years to the day since the attack at Columbine High School.
Yeah, 12 teens and a teacher were killed. Many others were injured when 2 students opened fire in that school. Ceremonies, memorials are planned for this weekend to honor the victims and the survivors. For family members and friends of the victims, 20 years later, moving on still comes one day at a time. And while the nation looks back at that devastating afternoon, those who were there continue to honor the lives lost. They look to the future and focus on helping each other.
I think it's similar to people that have gone to war together, where nobody knows what this experience is like until you've been through it.
And there will be a special private gathering at Columbine High School this weekend for families of the victims, survivors, students, faculty who were on campus on that day 20 years ago. And with that, we will take a short break. Coming up, a popular fashion company has released a new kind of shirt that's apparently really good for the environment.
Yeah, we'll see what that's about. And later, the Lombardi Trophy in Maine today. I'll show you how Mainers are reacting to the Gronk dent. All right. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday.
Hello, Facebook family.
Gotta fire this up.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing? It was nice out there today. I actually turned the air conditioning on in the car. That was the first.
Yeah, I had the top down on my convertible, but but I did feel like it was like sunny one minute, and then I felt like it was going to rain the next minute.
But the skies
didn't
were
rain.
all over the place, and it was windy at times too.
Over is the show.
Rachel, try.
There we go.
Rachel's looking for the link for Zion's story. Go to the 207 section of our website. I believe that's where Rob posted that story originally, and that's where you can find the link. I know, Joe, it's crazy to think it's been 2 decades since that horrible day.
Yeah. I remember it very well. It's kind of weird how now, I mean, it's still a terrible story and a big story when those things happen, but that was kind of the first one, you know, and it was just unbelievable, gigantic story.
I remember we were on a family vacation when that happened, and my little brother bought a toy gun. It was a Disney vacation, and he bought like a Captain Hook toy gun. And we were flying back to New England, and TSA flagged it and said, "What is this, some kind of sick joke? Don't you realize what just happened?"
And you didn't know
Well,
yet.
we had no idea because this was long before. I think my parents had like one cell phone between them.
Yeah.
And that was just for emergencies. You know, when you're on vacation, you don't want to pay all those extra roaming fees. So we had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, we had no idea that that had happened. So it's just interesting. It was hazy. This morning the fog was like incredible in some areas.
Buddy Pinkham says, why? What's that in reference to?
Why? Taking a look at some national headlines now. Rapper Cardi B due back in court May 31st after rejecting a plea deal today on charges stemming from a bar fight.
Yeah, Cardi B is charged with misdemeanor assault and reckless endangerment after this fight. It happened last September in a strip club in New York. Police say she and her entourage were throwing bottles and chairs at the bartenders in the club. The plea deal she rejected was third-degree assault in exchange for a conditional release, so she's going to fight these charges instead. Check this out. Yesterday, Polo Ralph Lauren launched a new version of its iconic polo shirt made entirely of recycled plastic bottles. The shirts are dyed through a process that uses zero water. The bottles are collected, turned into yarn, and eventually fabric. The Earth Polo went on sale yesterday. They come in styles for men and women in green, white, navy, and light blue, and they're available online and in stores, and they cost about the same as your regular old polo, too.
Interesting.
Christians around the world are observing Good Friday today.
It's the day believers commemorate the crucifixion of Jesus Christ before he rose again on Easter. Many churches are holding services today and tonight, and Easter celebrations will happen on Sunday.
And of course, Good Friday coincides with the Jewish observance of Passover. Passover commemorates the Israelites' liberation from centuries of slavery in Egypt. It is an 8-day celebration that starts at sundown tonight. Jews will celebrate by lighting candles and eating a lot of good holiday food, too. All right, coming up, our intern Maddie is going to break down what seniors should be doing to figure out their next step after graduation.
Time's ticking for them. And it warmed up a little bit today, we saw, but will the warm weather stick around for the holiday weekend? Kate's full forecast is coming up. Cadbury eggs.
We're very impatient with our bumps. We're always trying to get to break. Like, come on.
I know. You want me to read it slower?
Hang on it.
You want me to slow it down?
Slow it down.
Read this. Read
Oh
the.
yeah, I guess that's it. Is when you guys stop talking, I think.
Yeah.
I can't swipe anymore.
Usually I'm
Well, when that
trying to
happens,
read your whiteboard while I'm reading the T's, and it takes me forever to multitask like that.
Chewing gum.
Yeah, but if it's like easy enough and I think it's funny, I'll genuinely laugh.
A genuine laugh is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's wing it. Joe Bush, please clap.
I know, Deborah, isn't that cool? So that story
There
grabbed
we
my
go.
attention today because when I was on assignment today, I was actually talking with researchers at UNE who are finding levels of plastic in the ocean. They break down to small fragments called microplastic. Why do we care? Why does that affect us? Well, they're finding it's in shellfish like mussels.
Right.
And then we don't know if when we consume those, if that has any health implications for us. So by making these shirts out of plastic bottles, it's one way to reuse and recycle that plastic. But I love one researcher said today, the genie is already out of the bottle. You know, the problem's already there.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how we manage it from here. It's kind of like, you know, mercury. We know that there's mercury in the water, so we know some fish have higher levels of mercury. So certain populations are cautious with how much fish they consume.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this might become one of those things that we just learn to live with.
Hopefully over time we build up an immunity to it, right?
Right?
If it is in our bodies.
Right. Debbie's chiming in too.
Loss of
Debbie,
sugar results
exactly.
over
That's
time.
exactly what I was just talking about.
Yeah.
Actually, Debbie, if you have any questions specific to this topic, I'd be happy to ask on your behalf. I'll be working on this for the next couple of weeks or so. So if there's anything specific you want answered, let me know. Oh, I should put the link in there too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And James
I'll
was
read
just
that.
asking if the problem with the trophy came if Gronk did a headbutt on it, and no, he used it for batting practice, as you will see.
He didn't spike it.
He's being a knucklehead, which he's pretty expert at.
Right. I know. Do you think he'll have to pay a fine?
No.
No.
We were talking a lot about this.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be.
In one of its first appearances since Gronk used it as a baseball bat, what we were just talking about, the Super Bowl 53 trophy on display today at the State House.
Yeah, Patriots defensive end and Mainer, Derek Rivers, brought it to Maine, and Dustin Wadkowski checked it out.
Shiny, gleaming, and with a slight dent.
It's just a big smudge.
A piece of sports history makes it to Maine.
It's definitely a Gronk moment.
This is what it looks like when the Lombardi lines them up, hundreds strong in Maine State House. An arena of democracy turned over to spectator sports fans.
We love the Patriots. We love Derek and his Maine connection.
The reason the trophy is here at all is this guy, Maine-born Patriots defensive end Derek Rivers.
After this, we're ready to go see my grandparents. My grandfather's having his 80th birthday come Sunday.
He's not Brady, not Gronk, has only played a handful of games, but Rivers is on the team and went out on the field after Super Bowl 53. He was also around for a different sports incident.
The dent is quite impressive.
What isn't dented? Rivers' record. In a room full of politicians, he kept his campaign promise made months ago.
You're going to bring that ring and the trophy to Maine?
Oh, man, got to.
These fans couldn't be more grateful.
Have you always been a Patriots fan?
Of course. Is there any other team?
In Augusta, Dustin Wadkowski, News Center, Maine.
So again, I think this is going to make it more interesting for people to go see. You know,
Right.
the fact that one of them has a big old imperfection on it.
Absolutely. All right, well, here is something you don't see every day. A woman has started something that she calls an anti-selfie Instagram page called Steph Dies. This is interesting. The pictures bring new meaning to popular travel spots where pictures are done to death. So here's a look at some of these pictures here. So she's showing herself like anti-selfie in these places. That's her laying down, I believe. Is this like a new age, like Where's Waldo situation?
I guess it must be.
There's a middle ground between a selfie and being dead, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay,
oh,
yeah.
no. I don't know about this one.
Right. She's not dead, people.
Yeah. Apparently
Because she
this,
gets up to take the next picture.
apparently this account
This is
has
a bit
7,000 followers already. But this is a little bizarre.
Have you seen the woman, though, who falls down
No.
in public?
Yeah, that's entertaining at least.
It is entertaining because she's really good at it. You know,
Yeah.
like these amazingly terrible falls.
Yeah. It's
in
convincing.
public.
That was weird. You could tell none of us pre-read the show
Right.
at that moment there.
And I fell behind on prompter, so
Yeah,
sorry,
that's-
guys.
don't
I
worry,
was like trying to scroll and read at the same
Only
time.
there were words we could read ahead of time. All right, let's have a look at where we ended up for temps today. 77 in Sanford. Ooh. AC weather, right? 66 in Portland, 56 in Rockland, and 54 in Bar Harbor. You can see that ocean influence very strongly along the immediate coastline. Although I was impressed to see Portsmouth get to 77, even with the ocean obviously right there. Dew Point's a little sticky-ish in spots. 60 for Dew Point in Sanford. Now, here's the deal with dew points, right? If we had these same dew points in September, we'd be like, wow, the air mass is really crisp. But this time of the year, it feels muggy because we've been dry all winter long. It is very much a relative thing, these dew points, much like people in the deep south don't think anything of a dew point that's 70, and we're dying up here usually. Not like Steph dies or whatever. Was that the name of it? I don't know.
All right. No, I didn't read ahead.
Hey, also, I don't have our app. I don't know if you knew that. All right, so we got some showers up across parts of Canada right now. This all moving towards us very slowly, so it may not be till late tonight that we get the bulk of this moisture in here, but you can see there's a lot of it back here. And so that's really the next couple of days for us, intermittently at least, periods of rain. So the rest of tonight, cloudy. Here comes the rain into the mountains and eventually into northern Maine. And by tomorrow morning, we've got clouds, we've got intermittent showers. It is not a washout, but it's not a nice day either. And the showers continue overnight Saturday through early Sunday, and then we should be able to clear out a bit Sunday afternoon. I'm not sure if we'll see this much sun, but it will be dry by Sunday afternoon, and that'll be good enough. That's about it for the weekend. Unfortunately, the only part of the weekend that will be consistently on the dry side, and then more showers come in on Monday with another cutoff upper level low. And so that's kind of the theme through next week. Total rainfall amounts about 1 inch to 1.25 inches, and there will be some river flooding, moderate flooding, the possibility of some major flooding because of the snowpack and the rain combined, and we'll keep an eye on that. It's kind of a real-time thing. But watch all that rain come through this weekend, and then watch these little upper-level lows get cut off, sit there. This one Monday, see it's there Monday, Tuesday. Here's another on Wednesday. Wednesday has the potential to be terrible because not only is it going to be rainy, but it's going to be pretty cool. So we might get some snow mixed into that, which I know is what you guys want to hear. So, yeah, the weekend, again, not amazing. The showers in there for Monday, Tuesday, definitely not washouts there. And then we have, in order, potentially terrible and socked in on Wednesday and Thursday. So those 2 days are what they sound like.
Yeah.
They are what they sound
Mark
like.
it accordingly.
Yeah.
Plan accordingly.
And the snow, by the way, should be largely in the mountains, but
okay, good.
should be largely late April, too. So.
Yes. Yes.
Just when we get spoiled, you know, with
We
this
need
nice
that.
weather.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Snow
Absolutely.
returns. Keith, thanks. It's pretty hard to believe, but another year for college students is coming to an end.
Yeah, including my younger son, Noah, just about done. Most colleges wrapping up next month, and for seniors, it's a tad intimidating. Do you have a plan for the next step?
You probably dread that question. Intern Maddie Rayner gives us some tips in this week's Senioritis.
We're less than a month away from the G word. That means it's time to start packing and thinking of your next big move. If you're lucky, you already have a full-time job lined up. But if you're like me, you still have a lot of planning to do.
You got it, dude!
Wherever your job might be, these are 3 things to keep in mind before you get there. First, research rentals in the surrounding areas near your workplace. Second, find out how to get around. Is there public transportation? Do you have on-site parking? Will you need to get a bike? Third, who do you know in that area? Will you need to find a roommate to help cover costs?
Hey, how was your day?
Parents, this is a great time to sit down with your students and go over their cost of living, or go see a rental with them if they have to move away. At the end of the day, your bank account may force you to live at home. That's okay. So, where are we off to next?
Time for your next adventure.
I'm Madison Rayner, and this is Senioritis Stories.
Definitely some good advice there.
Yeah, we're talking about what we're planning, you know,
Yeah, the big
afterward too.
graduation day.
And yes, they do hate that. What are you doing? You know, what are you doing? Or it's like, when, you know, there's always a question. You just get to a comfortable place in life, and somebody asks you the question for what you're going to do next. You know,
Right,
it's like,
no matter
oh,
where
you just
you
got
are in
here.
life. I know.
Yeah.
Can't we just take a snapshot of this moment in
Right.
time and enjoy it for a little while?
Right. No is the answer to that. No.
Right. No is right.
Oh, all right.
Speaking of, we are going to be moving on to News Center Maine at 5:30, and Cindy's with us now for a preview.
I just thought of one perfect example of that. He asked me to marry him, and my first question was when.
Right, and I was like,
and he freaked
what?
out.
Guys, they don't realize how quickly we start planning.
Right, you've got to let the part A sink in before we move on to part B.
This moment.
Right. What was your answer to that, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, we got a lot more news coming up for you on News Center at 5:30. Augusta City Hall is shut down today because of a major computer attack that has locked up all of the city's data. Officials say ransomware got into the city's computer system. We'll tell you just how bad the situation is right now. And we'll tell you about a heart attack that brought a couple even closer together. Well, you might say, well, that's true with any life-threatening situation, but this one had a very unexpected twist. Those stories and more ahead at 5:30. Back to you.
Okay.
And yes, the answer was yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right, too. That's right, too.
I'm sure we'd be in a different situation right now had it been otherwise.
Yes, yeah, we probably would.
We'll see you guys on News Center Maine at 5:30.
Sounds good.
Well, we're back with Brain Drops. That's awesome.
I was almost going to say, like, you just got married and like, when are you going to have a baby? But I didn't want you to have this weird,
I know.
weird look on your face.
See, if you were Keith, you would have said that.
Right.
But I was thinking it too. Have a good weekend, you guys. Oh, yeah.
What was the? Yeah. Let's let's show the picture second.
Do you want to sit, stand?
Whatever you want.
I don't care. Do we got a graphic?
We do, but it's really more just a talker, so it'll be fine.
How's everybody doing? That was so funny. I feel like it's really funny when I'm sitting right between Lee and Cindy.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't feel natural.
Yeah, that's usually Friday nights that they do that. It's very unusual.
Yeah.
During the week. No, it's good. They didn't work together for many, many years, so this is.
It is interesting when you work with your spouse. When Clay and I anchored together in Peoria for a few years, it felt like it was a morning show, so it was like loose like this show, and we had a lot of guests. So it constantly felt like we were hosting a cocktail party. You know, like I don't know why.
I think Paula would get rid of me if we worked together.
Seriously?
She don't want that much time with me, you know.
No?
No, I think that's smart.
I don't know.
A little distance never hurt anyone. That's how Lee and Cindy stayed together for so long. They were like two ships in the night. You know?
That's true. That's true.
Something to be said for that?
That's true. Oh man.
What t-shirt is Jeff wearing?
I don't know. Let's see. Where'd he go?
Jeff gone?
He gone.
He gone.
We're wondering what t-shirt he's wearing. I would imagine like a minute and a half. Hey, Sarah. Look at those pucks.
I hope he didn't leave because he turned off all the lights and we still have a hit to do at 5:30.
Oh no. How much time left in show? Perfect. Funny enough, one of the equipment managers for the Mariners came here from Peoria too.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not really that big a town. Moderate, right? All right, so today's Brain Drops is interesting because I don't know if you remember Hurricane Michael last October, a big deal down across the Florida Panhandle. Well, today they announced that they were upgrading the storm from a Cat 4 to a Cat 5. Now, this happens sometimes after the fact, and basically they comb through all the data, they look at what happened to structures, and they figure out what they thought the exact wind speed was upon landfall. Now, the reality of it is you're talking about 5 or 6 miles an hour here between, you know, your Cat 4, high-end Cat 4 and a Cat 5. But it does change the statistics of it. It makes it the first Category 5 since Andrew in 1992, and it also puts it in the top 5 of tropical storms, tropical systems to hit the United States. So it kind of puts it in more rarefied air, even though we knew obviously that was a really strong storm. And I just want to show you this satellite picture. I remember this. You know, some storms, it's interesting as a meteorologist how this happens, and it happens with tornadoes too. Sometimes these really beautiful representations of weather are really bad news. Obviously on the ground, and so you end up in this weird spot where you can appreciate it. Like look at the the symmetry of this storm and the eye wall so nicely put together. This storm also was a great example of how, just anecdotally, you do not want to be in the path of an intensifying hurricane. It had a short run up from the Yucatan Peninsula. It was not one of those Cape Verde hurricanes that came all the way across, yet it ramped up fast, and Florida caught it on the upswing, and that tends to be a bad situation.
And Cat 5 is the highest, right?
That's it. It's maxed out. Yep.
Very interesting. It'll be in textbooks, I'm sure.
Yep.
News Center Maine at 5:30 starts right now. That's interesting that they do that after the fact.
Yeah, it's not super common. But
I mean, I guess they do that with tornadoes too, right?
Yeah. Tornadoes, they usually.
You turning the lights on, Jeff?